Who's actually going to get real value out of a full-size tower-style kegerator, and who should just keep their home brew on a simple fridge? If you're thinking about turning your garage into a mini pub, you need to ask yourself whether you'll actually use 3 taps on a daily basis or if you'll end up with a pricey piece of stainless steel that mostly gathers dust. And, of course, the bigger question, does the EdgeStar KC7000SSODTRIP justify its price tag for the average homebrew enthusiast? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the hesitation most first-time buyers feel. You've probably seen pictures of sleek stainless steel towers on Instagram and thought, that's exactly what my game nights need. But the reality of plugging a 110-volt, triple-tap beverage system into a garage outlet is that you're adding a permanent appliance that draws roughly 120 watts when cooling, and that's not something you want to forget about when you're juggling a limited power budget. The EdgeStar unit is a built-in model, meaning it's designed to sit under a countertop or bar, not sit on a tabletop. If you have a dedicated space, say a finished basement bar or a patio kitchen with a proper countertop, this kegerator will blend right in. If you're living in a small apartment, the sheer footprint, about 24 inches wide by 30 inches deep, and the need for a dedicated service line for the CO tank make it a poor fit. Now, what does the EdgeStar actually bring to the table beyond the glossy finish? The biggest practical strength is its triple-tap design combined with a built-in cooler. Most entry-level kegerators give you 1 tap and rely on a separate cooling unit, which forces you to buy a separate fridge or a large fridge in the same space. The KC7000SSODTRIP consolidates both, so you can keep 3 different kegs, say a crisp lager, a hoppy IPA, and a seasonal stout at ideal serving temperature without needing 2 appliances. In a real-world scenario, imagine hosting a backyard barbecue where guests can each pick their preferred style without you having to shuffle kegs around or open a fridge to grab a 6-pack. The unit's cooling capacity keeps the beer at around 38 degrees, which is the sweet spot for most draft beers. You'll notice the difference instantly when a cold pour hits the glass versus a warm one from a regular refrigerator. On the flip side, the same triple-tap system can turn into a weakness if you don't actually have 3 kegs to rotate. The internal refrigeration system is calibrated for the thermal mass of 3 standard 5-gallon kegs. If you load only a single keg, the compressor runs more frequently to maintain temperature, which can increase energy consumption and wear on the unit. That's why the EdgeStar really shines for people who already have a small lineup of kegs or who plan to run a rotating schedule of seasonal brews. For the casual home brewer who only taps a single batch a month, you might be overpaying for capacity you'll never use. Another practical consideration is the built-in CO regulator. This isn't a fully automated line pressure system, you still have to install and adjust the regulator yourself. For folks who are comfortable with a basic wrench and know how to set the correct pressure, typically 1214 psi for most LS, the regulator is a handy convenience. If you're new to draft systems, the learning curve can be a little steep, especially when you factor in the need to purge lines, clean taps, and keep the system sanitary. The good news is that EdgeStar provides a standard stainless steel faucet and quick disconnect fittings, so cleaning is straightforward. You can soak the taps in a solution of PBW, powdered brewery wash, and rinse with warm water. However, the unit does not include a dedicated drip tray beneath the taps, meaning any spillage will end up on the countertop. If you expect a lot of activity with beer foam overflowing, you'll need to add a separate tray or be diligent about wiping down the area. Now let's talk about durability versus the price point. The stainless steel exterior gives the KC7000SSODTRIP a premium look that will age well, but the real test is the internal components. The compressor is a sealed unit design that, according to EdgeStar's own FAQ, should last about 5 years under normal use. That's comparable to a mid-range residential fridge, but keep in mind you're operating the compressor more often when you're serving multiple kegs. If you're in a climate that swings between hot summers and cold winters, the unit might have to work harder to maintain that 38 degrees target, which could shorten its lifespan. For someone who lives in a temperate zone and runs the kegerator a few evenings a week, the long-term cost of potential repairs is something to weigh against the upfront price. From a practical day-to-day standpoint, the control panel is simple: a digital temperature readout, a set temperature knob, and a power button. There's no fancy Wi-Fi connectivity or smartphone app, which is actually a plus for people who don't want to deal with app updates and Bluetooth pairing. You